Welcome to Smashville. This is PK Subban.
I'm Dan Hamhuis.
This is Craig Smith.
This is Mike Fisher.
But you need to dig in right now, every guy.
Everybody loves their soldiers until they come home and stop fighting.
Enough is enough.
They need me to bleed, and I'll bleed for my team.
Start playing with some jam in here. Let's go.
This is Ryan Johansson. Welcome to Smashville.
This is Philip Forsberg.
I'm Victor Arvidsson.
I'm Ryan Ellis.
I'm Matthias Ekholm.
I'm Beckerin, and you're listening to the Renegades of Puck with Crazy Charlie.
Crazy Charlie puts words in my mouth. You can't trust that guy.
If you can't get some fire, some passion, some energy, and figure out how in the hell to talk about this magnificent sport of hockey that has taken over the city of Nashville, then why are you on the radio? You don't deserve it, and you should do the honorable thing and turn your mic in. You're making a damn fool of yourself.
This is my declaration. I'm coming after every single one of you. The lazy, the tired, the boring voices out there. Your time is up. I'm Crazy Charlie Saunier.
I'm Pete Weber of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Colton Sissons of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Eustace of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Find a way, boys. No more half-stepping.
Now, here's your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. And before we get started with the No Half Step in hockey coverage, first let me direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you'll learn everything you need to know about the show and what you're going to educate about the show. Well, that's when you click on that merchandise tab. It takes you straight to our classic logo t-shirt and all the gimmicks you come to know and love and expect from the Renegades of Puck, whether that's socks, throw pillows, wall art, bed sets. Makes no difference to us. We've sold out so that you can buy in. Social media is of critical importance to this independent and unaffiliated operation, so here's how you can jump in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. You can find us on Instagram. You can also find us on Threads. You can find us on Facebook, and yes, even on X. So please, jump in the trenches, support the Renegades of Puck. It doesn't cost you a thing, doesn't take you but a second, but it sure does go a long way to helping us out. Please, if you would, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out all of the different playlists we've curated over there. We make lots of different content. It's all good hockey content. We'd love it if you get over onto our page and click around on things, subscribe to the channel, and pass those links around to other Renegades out there in your life. That would go a long way to helping us build up our fan base out there. So again, stick taps, love, and respect to all of our recent subscribers. We sure do appreciate each and every one of you. We've got a virtual tip jar, and I want to thank you for paying off our recent swearing spree that we had here on the show. Hell, it's been a really frustrating season. We've been dropping a lot of swears, and we sure do appreciate you, mysterious benefactor out there, for bailing us out on this one. If you'd like to make a financial contribution to the show, there's a QR code right on our virtual tip jar right over there on the corner of the desk, or you can just go to Venmo, search out Renegades of Puck at any point in time during the show. Every dollar goes a long way to helping keep the Renegades of Puck operating. And as we are now into 2025, we've got some ambitious plans coming up. Don't we always? So we will be asking for your assistance in the coming weeks and months as we start construction on a new set and also on some new portions of the podcast. Stay tuned for that. Now, listen, I know it's time for the No Half Step in hockey coverage, so let me deliver the goods. We're getting to a special number, but we're not there yet. Time for operation number 949. That is right. Time for show number 949. And at this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 7th place in the Central Division after 38 games skated. They have a record of 11, 20, and 7. Playoff picture is getting pretty far out of reach, so we won't even be mentioning that. 29 points is where the Nashville Predators sit near the middle point of the season, still in the 20s in points on the road, which is where the Nashville Predators' next game will take place. As a matter of fact, it'll be the 4th game of a 6-game so far disastrous road trip. The Predators' record this season, which is disastrous, 3-13-4. The Predators have scored 91 goals. That's the least amount in the Central Division. They've given up 122. That's almost the most in the Central Division. They have a goal differential of minus 31. The Predators' week ahead looks like this. After this game Friday night in Vancouver against the Canucks, the next night, Saturday, Calgary, and then Tuesday in Winnipeg to wrap up the 6-game road trip. That's right, their second trip to Winnipeg on this 6-game road trip. Back home, final finally on January the 11th for the first time in 2025 to face off against the Washington Capitals, the 14th versus the Vegas Golden Knights, and the 16th versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Before we get into the season series, the Canucks preview, and the matchup itself, let's talk about the latest Central Division standings update. The Winnipeg Jets find themselves in first place after 39 games skated, so getting very close to the middle point of the season now. 55 points for the Jets. The Minnesota Wild are in second place with 50 points. Colorado Avalanche are in third place with 46 points. The Dallas Stars in fourth with 45 points. Then you'll find St. Louis in fifth place with 40 points. The Utah Hockey Club has 38 points in sixth place, and the Predators at 29, and the Chicago Blackhawks in eighth and final spot in the Central with 26 points. The season series between the Nashville Predators and the Canucks, it's the second of three regular season meetings. They met the first time back on November the 17th. The Predators went to Vancouver, so this will be their second and final trip to Vancouver for this regular season. On that game in the 17th of November, the Predators winning 5-3. Saros got the victory, 24 out of 27. Stamkos picked up 2 goals. Nyquist, LaRue, and Yossi also scored for the Predators. Lankinen went 17 out of 21, picked up the loss. It was Rattay, Sherwood, and Pettersson scoring for the Canucks. On the 29th of January is when the Nashville Predators will host the Vancouver Canucks at Bridgestone Arena. That will be the third and final regular season meeting between these two teams. The Vancouver Canucks over in the Pacific Division, 17-11-8 overall in the season, 42 points, has them fifth in that division. 7-7-6 on home ice, 112 goals for, 115 goals against. It's a goal differential of -3. Their most recent stretch of completed games will go back 5. We'll go back to December the 19th. We'll pick it up with a 3-1 loss at the Vegas Golden Knights. Follow that up on the 21st of December with a 5-4 overtime loss versus the Ottawa Senators. On the 23rd of December, a 4-3 win versus San Jose. The 28th of December saw a 5-4 overtime loss versus the Seattle Kraken. And most recently on New Year's Eve, a 3-1 loss at the Calgary Flames. The Canucks will be on the ice in Seattle to face off against the Kraken Thursday. Then we'll have to travel home to face off and host the Nashville Predators on Friday. There are some news and injury updates for the Nashville Predators. Let's talk about those real quick, then we'll jump back into this game preview and matchup. Cole Smith is still on injured reserve, about 4 more weeks anticipated until his return. We do not know a time frame or an injury update for Luzon at this point, but we do know he left the previous game for the Predators, did not return in that game. And also, Zach LaRue has been summoned by the league for disciplinary hearing to be determined when that will take place. So as of this recording, we still had no information of even when the hearing would take place, nor what the consequence would be. But this is in regard to the slew foot penalty against Spurgeon in the Minnesota Wild game. I do anticipate, since it was a match penalty, that LaRue is going to be suspended when he gets his disciplinary hearing. Now, back to the matchup between these two teams. And again, it is incomplete because the Vancouver Canucks do have one more game in Seattle before facing off against the Predators. Goals for on the season, 2.39 for the Predators, 32nd in the NHL. The Predators have moved back into their favorite position in offense in the NHL, which is last. 3.11 for the Vancouver Canucks. It's 13th best in the NHL. And goals against, the Predators are giving up 3.21 per game. That's 23rd. The Vancouver Canucks are giving up 3.17. That's 21st. So a very comparable statistical metric right there. In the shots on goal category, the Predators 29.4 generated per game is 12th best. Vancouver 25.7 is 29th. Shots against category, the Predators are giving up 29.7 per game. It's 26th. 28.2 for Vancouver is 13th. When it comes to the special teams matchup, the Predators power plays converting at 18.7%. That's 21st overall in the NHL. 20 conversions on 107 opportunities. For the Vancouver Canucks, they have the 10th best power play in the league, converting at 23.5%. 24 power play conversions on 102 opportunities. The penalty kill, the Predators are in free fall. 83.9% has them dropping now to 5th place in the NHL. They had occupied the number 1 overall spot in the NHL for seemingly the entirety of the season and now have slipped all the way to 5th place in this recent stretch of this 3-game road trip, the beginning of this road trip. When it comes to the penalty kill for the Vancouver Canucks, 81.7% kill rate is 10th best in the NHL. They've given up 20 power play goals against on the season. When it comes to the individual statistical leaders for both of these teams, let's start with the home team, Vancouver Canucks. Hughes at 8 goals and 34 assists for 42 points. Pettersson 10 and 18 for 28. Garland 9 goals, 19 assists for 28 points. DeBrusk 16 goals, 11 assists, 27 overall points. Bosser, 14-11 for 25. Over on the Nashville Predators side of things, Philip Forsberg still paces the Predators, 9 goals, 21 assists, 30 points overall. Jonathan Marchessault has the number one overall goal total on the team with 14. Add 13 assists to that. His point total is 27. Yossi's at 7 goals, 7 assists for 24 points. Stamkos 11-12 for 23. And O'Reilly's now at 9 goals, 13 assists for 22 points. Anticipated goaltender matchup sees UC Saros at 8-16-6 with a 2.82 goals against average and 903 save percentage and 3 shutouts, facing off against Kevin Lankinen, 14-6-4, 2.58 goals against average, 908 save percentage, also 3 shutouts on the season. Yes, that Lankinen, that was the Nashville Predators backup the last couple of years. He's finding tremendous success there in Vancouver. That's got you all set up for this game. Nashville Predators game 4 of a 6-game road trip in Vancouver, where they've already won 1 game this season back on November the 17th. They look to duplicate that effort, and they need these points incredibly badly. Catching Vancouver on the second night of back-to-backs, where the Canucks have to travel while the Predators have had an extra day off. Nothing seems to work out for this Predators team when it's supposed to, or the easy way. So for the Nashville Predators, why do I get the feeling the Vancouver Canucks will have more energy and look more prepared to play coming into this game? I sure hope not. The Predators have the Canucks in a good scheduling scenario right here to get themselves at least out of a funk for one night. That's going to do it for the preview portion of this. Let's go back and talk about what happened in the last game. The Predators were in Minnesota to take on the Wild. It was the second night of back-to-back for the Preds, and they were dealing with some difficulties. Let's figure out how it all went down. It's the Rebirth Sports Full Game Recap coming up next, right here, Renegades of Puck Podcast.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
It's now time for the Rebirth Sports Full Game Recap. We go all the way back to December 31st, year 2024, when the Nashville Predators were in Minnesota to face off against the Wild on the second night of back-to-backs. Head coach Andrew Burnett deploys his line combinations and defensemen in the following way. Forsberg, Stamkos, and Marchessault make up your first line. Nyquist, O'Reilly, and Heinestroza. And then it's Jankowski, Novak, Evangelista, LaRue, McCarron, and Sissons, Yossi, and Shen, Shea, and Blankenberg, Luzon, and Barron make up your defensive pairings. And Noonan gets the start in net for the Nashville Predators. Just 3 seconds in, we find Noonan coming with a save on Spurgeon. First shot on goal of the game at the 2:42 mark now of the first period. It's Luzon coming up with the fight versus Foligno. 5 minutes each off to the box. Novak took a huge hit from Foligno right there at the edge of the bench, causing Luzon to react. Each off to the box, 5 minutes each. On the next face-off, it would be LaRue versus Jones, each off to the box, 5 minutes each. Then we return to hockey, and we find ourselves at the 3:13 mark of the first period with Gustafsson coming up with a save on the captain, Roman Josi. 3:42 mark of the first period finds a Noonan coming up with a save on Faber, plus the follow-up by Rossi. 5:04 of the first period is a Noonan coming up with a save on Chisholm. And then at the 6:16 mark of the first period, Gustafsson coming with a save on Philip Forsberg. 7:19 season Noonan coming with a save on Shore. Then we found our first scoring of the game at 7:54 of the first period. It's Rossi breaking through with his 13th of the season, putting Minnesota up 1-0. Right place, right time, bounce in his favor. One of those type goals goes against the Nashville Predators. Minnesota Wild take a 1-0 lead. 9:28 of the first period. Now Gustafsson comes in with a save on Philip Forsberg. The 10:25 mark of the first period, and Noonan coming with a save on Trennan. At the 11-minute mark of the first period, the Nashville Predators are on the boards. Colton Sissons picks up his 3rd goal of the season. A low slot redirect off Shea's long shot ties the game at 1 apiece. 12:21 now the first period. It's O'Reilly off the box. 2 minutes for tripping, creating our first special teams scenario of the game. One big save on Eriksson Ek, and the Preds PK would be able to hold. 15:14 now the first period. It's Marchessault picking up his 14th goal of the season. Yakov Trennan with a brutal turnover right at the blue line, turning it over, leading to a 2-on-1 for the Predators deep within their own zone. Stamkos comes up with the feed, and Marchessault comes up with the finish for his team-leading 14th goal of the season, putting the Nashville Predators ahead 2-1 in this game. The 16:23 mark of the first period. Now it's Noonan coming up with a save on Goudreau. In 1946, it's Blankenberg off the box. 2 minutes for puck over glass. Saros came up. Noonan came up with a save right here, and then on the clearing attempt, Blankenberg puts the puck into the crowd. Noonan would come up with a save on Rossi before the end of the period. We would hit the intermission with Minnesota out shooting Nashville 16-15, but the Predators holding a 2-1 lead. Carryover of a power play of a minute 46 seconds for the Minnesota Wild into the second period finds Noonan coming with a save on Boldy, and then on Gaudreau, and then on Johansson for the end of the penalty kill. The Predators able to hold 3:19 now of the second period, a turning point moment in the game as LaRue picks up a penalty. 5 minutes match penalty for slew footing. It would be reviewed. It would be upheld. Trenton would also pick up 2 minutes for roughing in the scenario, creating a 4-on-4 for 2 minutes, and then a Minnesota major power play for 3 full minutes. Now, just to comment on the play, and we'll do more of that later on. For LaRue, it was in fact a slew foot. It seemed to meet the definition of the penalty, and he now has been met with an invitation from the league for supplemental disciplinary hearing. That is still to be determined as of the recording of this broadcast. So a 4-on-4 for 2 minutes, then a major power play for 3 minutes finds Zuccarello scoring his 8th goal of the season for Minnesota. It was a back post tap-in, tie the game up at 2 apiece, the 8:23 mark of the second period. So Noonan coming with a save on Rossi at 8:57 of the second period. It's Brodin with his 4th goal of the season. A long wrist shot through traffic puts the Minnesota Wild ahead 3-2. 11:16 now of the second period. So Noonan coming with a save on Hartman. The 12:01 mark of the second period. It's O'Reilly picking up his 9th goal of the season. Some net front jam ties this game back up. That 3 apiece at the 14:03 mark of the second period. It's Gustafson coming with the save on Barron at 15:43 of the second period. It's Brady Shea off the box. 2 minutes for interference. There might have been a really good sell job to earn this power play for the Minnesota Wild. And then you find Chisholm with his 2nd goal of the season. It was a long, heavy shot that goes bar down that puts Minnesota ahead 4-3. We flip to the backside of the sheet. We continue on in the second period. 18:27 of the second. It's Zuccarello off the box. 2 minutes for interference on O'Reilly. Gustafson then comes with a save on Stamkos' one-timer before the end of the period. At the end of the second period, the shots on goal are pretty outrageous right here. The Minnesota Wild are at 32, and the Nashville Predators are at 27. The Predators do have a power play carryover of 28 seconds into the third period, but they were unable to convert during this opportunity. We find ourselves at the 2-minute mark now of the third period. It's Gustafson coming with a save on Evangelista, 3:31 of the third period. Gustafson comes up with a save on Yossi at the 6:39 mark of the third period. The captain, Roman Yossi's off the box, 2 minutes for tripping. Rossi cashing in on the power play for the Minnesota Wild with his 14th goal of the season. Some rebound jam into the open net, and the Minnesota Wild are now up 5-3 here in the third period. The 8:03 mark of the third. Gustafson coming with the save on Shen, 10:42. Gustafson comes up with the save on Novak, 12:58. Gustafson continues his hard work here in the third period with another save on Philip Forsberg, 14:44. Noonan makes an appearance in the third period briefly here with a save on Trenton. We go back to the other end of the ice, and Gustafson continues doing the hard work at 17:06 of the third. He comes up with a save on Forsberg, and then a long sustained pressure that sees the Nashville Predators just piling up shots with the empty net scenario. We see our only other action at 18:41 when Forsberg and Merrill off the box, 2 minutes each. The Predators had a couple of glorious opportunities in close range and tight, could not get the puck to go, and that would be the end of this. That big scrum's the final action of this game as Minnesota Wild beat the Nashville Predators 5-3 in this game. The Preds do outshoot Minnesota 46-38. Again, pretty outrageous shots on goal for this game. But for the Nashville Predators now 0-3 on this road trip, and they drop this game 5-3 against the Wild. That's 3 straight division games on this road trip as well. They finish the game with 11 forwards because of LaRue getting the match penalty, and only with 5 defensemen because Luzon left injured. Still to be determined what his time frame for return is. So for the Nashville Predators, a really, really difficult start to this road trip. A team that only has 3 wins on the road this season is now 0-3 and in the middle of a 6-game road trip. We got more to talk about as far as this game is concerned. We've got a box score, we've got analysis, and so much more coming up right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness. And that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
That was the Rebirth Sports full game recap. Now it's time for the analysis portion of things here on the Renegades of Puck podcast on show number 949. And we will be implementing some changes, and we'll be adding some more historical pieces and some look backs over the previous 950 episodes as we count down towards episode 1000, a massive, massive milestone coming up here for the show. Any show that makes it to 1,000 episodes has certainly done something right, and we've managed to do that in a fairly short amount of time, actually. Let's talk about some analysis of things. Noonan, 33 out of 38 in this game, 5 goals against. He wasn't the problem. He could have been better on a couple of these opportunities, but the Predators were shorthanded so many times that it just simply didn't really matter. But he was out there, he was battling, and the early portions of the game when the Predators were still in it, he was giving them a chance. Marchessault picks up a goal in this game, is 14th of the season. That's the team lead for the Nashville Predators. He also had 4 shots on goal, 22-24 total time on ice. And how did he do it? Well, he continues going to the hard areas. That 2-on-1 with Stamkos down low, continues doing the hard work and also finishing at close range. Again, Marchessault continues being a very successful addition to this Nashville Predators team, leading the team with 14 goals this season. O'Reilly back on the score sheet with 1 goal, also adds 5 shots on goal and 20-53 in total time on ice. His goal comes the way you would always expect Ryan O'Reilly to score, close range, bringing the jam, and absolutely bringing some net front presence. Great job for O'Reilly right there in this game. Colton Sissons adds a goal in this game, his 3rd of the season, going to the hard areas, bringing the jam again. All 3 of the players who scored for the Nashville Predators in this game scored at close range, and they went to the hard areas getting the work done. So Colton Sissons picks up his 3rd goal of the season. Great deflection there in the low slot of Brady Shea's long shot. Brady Shea with 2 assists in this game. He's not going to get a lot of talk, a lot of analysis on this one, but he sure did put up some decent shots towards the net in this game, allowing the Nashville Predators offense to do some work. Let's talk about Roman Josi for just a second. 7 shots on goal, 32-30 in total time on ice. Of course, the Predators were short defensemen. Luzon only skated 6:19 in this game before leaving the game injury. Luke Shen only went 13:58 in this game, the second least amount of time, the least amount of time for a defenseman that finished the game. So Roman Josi picked up a lot of minutes in this one, 32-30 in total time on ice for this game. And we have to address the Zach Leroux match penalty. We've already mentioned the league has summoned him for disciplinary review. We have not heard any news coming about that yet, even when the hearing is actually going to take place. I anticipate probably sometime on Thursday, and we may have that news and that information by Thursday afternoon. Just follow along for updates. So Leroux did slew foot Spurgeon. Spurgeon was injured, and this is definitely coming into a factor. There's a lot of opinions and hot takes about this play and about that particular scenario where should a suspension be as long as a player is out injured. For Leroux, while he has a reputation in juniors and he has some suspensions in the AHL, his career in the NHL has been clean. His first fight just took place in this very game against the Minnesota Wild. I do not believe the slew foot was done with malicious intent, nor do I think that Zach Leroux wanted to injure Spurgeon at any point in time. He was going hard, and he walks that line, and sometimes as a player, he's going to go over that line. Over aggressive? Yes. Malicious intent to injure? No. Will it bring a suspension? Probably the first of his career. These things are going to happen when you have a player that plays on the edge. I hope that this doesn't gain a reputation with the referees. I hope this doesn't gain him a disciplinary situation that is too insurmountable to overcome as far as reputation. It was a slew foot. I don't believe it was malicious. I believe the penalty was warranted. Now I believe we're going to move on from it until we have more information about it. Let's hear from our good friends at Stripe Digital Solutions. Let's come back. Let's get into the box score, and then we're going to have some good fun revisiting 5 years ago today It was behind enemy lines. It was the Nashville Predators at the Dallas Stars in the Winter Classic at the Cotton Bowl. We're going to take you back 5 years ago. We put a little piece together here on the show. We'll be back with the good, cold, hard numbers known as the box score right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.
The digital environment can be quite intimidating, time-consuming, and cumbersome, especially with all those other areas that need attention at your business, and that's why Stripe Digital Solutions is here to help. I know because that's exactly what Stripe Digital Solutions did for me and the Renegades of Puck. From designing my home website and helping me create my merchandise to special event posters, brand building, and social media management. But it's not just that, it's so much more. Stripe Digital Solutions has helped me every step of the way. From startup to full-time operation, Stripe Digital Solutions has been there to assist and advise every single step of the journey. In today's fast-paced world, the path to success is having a strong digital partner, and nobody is better in the trenches than Brandy and Stripe Digital Solutions. Get the solution before it's even a problem with Stripe Digital Solutions.
Welcome back in. Goal scorers for the Nashville Predators in this game. Jonathan Marchessault, this team leading 14th. Ryan O'Reilly and Colton Sissons also had goals to this. Brady Shea paces the Preds with 2 assists. Blankenberg also adds an assist in this game. Steven Stamkos, Gus Nyquist with assists as well. Shots on goal piled up in this game. The Nashville Predators ended up with 46 total shots on goal for the team. So you know there's going to be plenty of crooked numbers here. Roman Josi led the way with 7, but then Nyquist had 6 shots on goal. Philip Forsberg had 5 shots on goal along with O'Reilly, and then at 4 shots on goal, Marchessault and also Luke Schenn. An impressive shot volume by the Nashville Predators, who only averaged 29.4 per the entire season per game. So for them to end up with 46 in this game, it was impressive, and that barrage at the end of the game, if they could have only put that type of pressure on Gustafsson for the entirety of the game, the Predators might have had a different outcome, but it was not to be. So let's see what else is falling out of the box score. When it comes to the block shots, this was remarkably low. Blankenberg, Justin Barron leading the way with 3 block shots. Nobody else on the team with more than 1. In the hits category, it was Brady Shea with 3, and that would lead the way. And LaRue, since he didn't make it through much of the game, 20 penalty minutes due to the match penalty, only 154 in total time on ice skated. Those are categories and things you do not want to lead the team in. Total time on ice leaders for the Nashville Predators, 22-24 for Marchessault, picking up the slack, going 11 forwards for most of the game. 22-04 for Steven Stamkos, 21-28 for Philip Forsberg. Same thing happening on the defense with Luzon going out injured. Josi picking up some extra time, 32-30. Shea, 24-06 in this game. No other Nashville Predator defenseman over 20 minutes. Blankenberg coming closest there at 19:57. When it comes to Nashville Predators power play time on ice leaders, 2 minutes for Steven Stamkos, 1:49 for Jonathan Marchessault, 1:45 for Philip Forsberg, 2 minutes for the captain, Roman Josi. Penalty kill. The Predators just found themselves shorthanded way too many times yet again in this game, and they are definitely buckling, if not just outright hemorrhaging right now on the PK, falling from 1st to 5th in the matter of a couple of games. 4:47 time on ice for Jankowski, 4:29 for Sissons, 4:25 for Shea, 4:14 for Roman Josi, 3:34 for Blankenberg, 2:09 for Barron. You're asking entirely too much. Back-to-back nights, the Nashville Predators find themselves in the parade to the penalty box, just killing their penalty kill unit. I know that they had been one of the best things about this team all season long, but you have just driven them into the ground these last few games, and they are definitely starting to buckle significantly under the pressure out there. You can't keep taking this many penalties, major penalties, 5-on-3s, all of the different dumb scenarios you've put your penalty kill unit up against. Your netminder in this game was Noonan, 33 out of 38 5 goals against, an in-game save percentage of 8.68, 25 even strength saves, 7 power play saves, and 1 shorthanded save. Listen, that's going to do it for the box score. Let's go ahead and move on from this game. There is definitely something I'm very excited to bring to you here on this episode of the Renegades of Puck podcast. It was at the Winter Classic, back when the Nashville Predators went to face off against the Dallas Stars at the Cotton Bowl, that the Renegades of Puck declared their independence. For those of you who have listened to the show and watched the show, yes, we might be on operation number 949, but there was a time that we worked at a radio station, and, well, let's face it, we had supervision of some form, and then we went to Dallas, Texas. We declared our own independence, and ever since then, the Renegades of Puck have been thriving as as their own free and independent state of hockey. You have seen me addressing you from the bunker ever since that particular time. I take you back to Dallas, Texas. I take you back to behind enemy lines, one of the wildest hockey parties and celebrations that has ever happened. It was supposed to be a few people getting together for New Year's Eve until the Renegades got together with Eric Young and also with Chris Mason, Hal Gill, Lindsey Rowley, and so many others. Let's take you back to Brain Dead Brewery, Deep Ellum, Texas on New Year's Eve, the night before the Winter Classic.
Is going to fall off this thing. Please welcome from Prospect, Tennessee, and from the Browns Bowl, Chris Allen Wilson! And joining him, this fellow, Big Chicky Porter, from 102 Pike Down the Game. This is a one-size fits all. It's about the one biggest one they've got. So just like before, okay. Woo! Hey! Go Preds! Go Preds! At the bar. Man, having a microphone is like all kinds of power. There's no nudity, Wyszynski. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Wyszynski from ESPN. Yeah.
It's considered the night the Renegades of Puck were born. What a fantastic event. What a party. We expected a few people would show up in Dallas, Texas, and we absolutely sold the bar out, Brain Dead Brewery, of every drop of alcohol that they had, every item of food that they had. As a matter of fact, they ran out of glasses. They ran out of everything, and they would run out of business, as a matter of fact, not too long after the Renegades of Puck did it. But it wasn't because of us. We helped them for what night? What a hell of a night it was the night before the Winter Classic. Didn't get the result in the game for the Predators against the Dallas Stars, but one of the hockey memories of a lifetime, one of the weekends of a lifetime, going down to Dallas, taking over Deep Ellum, taking over Brain Dead Brewery on New Year's Eve. 500 plus Renegades strong there at the bar, closing down the street, closing down everything, and just partying their asses off the way only No Half Step and Renegades can do. It has been a fantastic 5 years since we declared our independence, and we have some big things coming in 2025. So excited. We've debuted the new intro now. We'll start debuting some new contents, some new guests, and a lot of other things coming up. We're going to build a brand new set. It's going to be part of a new podcast right here under the Renegades of Puck umbrella. I'm very excited to bring you all these new ideas. So keep following along, keep supporting the channel, and we'll bring you more historical pieces like we just did right there from the Winter Classic in 2019. It was the birthday of the Renegades of Puck, the night we declared our independence. Sure to appreciate your time, appreciate your viewership, appreciate each and every one of you, my good Renegades. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. It's just the beginning of what is going to be a fantastic year. Keep on bringing the No Half Step and Jam. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick taps, love, and respect.